Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is Three Siders Season 3, Episode 3, and the name of this episode is Fix It. Man, I got my life with this episode. This episode was so funny, and I was just overwhelmed. And I have to say, great job to the writers, the cast and crew. You guys delivered on this episode, so let me get started because I'm excited. All right. The episode opens up with Mason and Brandon. Pretty much, they're catching up with each other, and Brandon pretty much notices that Mason looks kind of down. Even though Mason is trying to dress up, he has this nice silk shirt on, and the brother's looking sharp. Mason looks sharp in that shirt, but Brandon can tell that something's bothering Mason. Mason pretty much, talked about that. I thought that after, coming back home from Boston, things were going to get better, but it turns out things are the total opposite. So Brandon pretty much says, okay, so what's going on? And he's talked about Suki Woo. And it said that, Suki was trying to come on to him. And Brandon just cracks up laughing. Because he's like, what in the hell? And he's like, yo, this shit ain't funny. Yeah, Brandon's like, are you serious? And Mason was like, yeah, he said he wanted me to touch him on the inside and call his name. I mean, give him beloved cheese. And I was like, oh shit, this was really good. But then he said, and then Brandon was like, oh hell nah, TMI, like I can't. But then Mason begins to tell him there's more, and when Brandon asks him what, he just mumbles. Brandon's like, if you don't come out with it, and he tells him that Suki owns the mannequin factory. And he says, how the hell was that even possible? And he said that, look, I thought I was signing task codes. I signed the documents not knowing what was not knowing what I was signing. Then all of a sudden he shows up at my house with some big bitch named Callahan, and all of a sudden, she gave me documentation showing that she owned the factory. And of course, Brandon pretty much said, like, okay, you didn't think to read before you signed your name on it? I mean, that's business 101, but Mason trusted Suki. So Brandon is shocked, like, yo, this is crazy. So he's like, so what are you going to do? And then Mason's like, well, that's where you come in. I need a $15,000 loan. And he's like, you can do it, Brandon. It's chump change to you. And I'm like, whoa, Mason, pump your brakes, sweetheart. I love you, but when you asking for money, just because a person got money, don't mean they got money to lend out like that. I mean, when you got that kind of money, you have to run that money like an institution, and you have to really be on top of every dollar you spend. So just because he got money, don't mean he just got $15,000 that he can just throw at you like that, because everything has to be accounted for. And Brandon also tells me that, look, I'm just getting back in my good graces, with Jabril, with my sobriety. I'm not trying to bring any more drama or trying to, create any more BS. So he's pretty much saying that, look, I'm just now getting back on my feet. I'm trying to rebuild and everything, so I don't got that kind of money right now. So, but then Mason says there's more. He said Ronnie asked for money. He's like, what? Ronnie came back again? He's like, hell yeah, Ronnie came back again, talking about she wants to change her identity to become like, Beverly Moore or some shit. And then Kiko showed up, and then Kiko and Ronnie got into it. And, of course, Brandon asked, about Kiko and all of that. So, we still see that Brandon still has a place in his heart for Kiko. And I really hope that him and Kiko finally get that moment where they're put in the same place and they can talk it out and get back to being the best friends that we all loved. I mean, because I just loved Mason and Kiko. I just loved, Brandon and Kiko together. They were just like the dynamic duo, and I just couldn't get enough of them. So while they're talking about that, we see at the damn mannequin factory, Callahan and that damn Suki are straight gagging and goofing off like they done hit the damn lottery. Especially Suki. Suki is feeling herself to the rim, to the point that you know, you can't tell her shit. I mean, I'm literally, you know, changing Suki. I'm pretty much giving Suki a nickname. I'm calling this bitch Maleficent because she was just getting evil queen. You know, her and Callahan are standing in the mirror, and, you know, Suki is like, you know, pretty much giving, I am this and I am that, and everyone should worship me, and, you know, mirror, mirror on the wall. I mean, she was giving all of that. But the funny thing about it, and I clocked this, Callahan is a fierce bitch. This bitch is so fucking fierce, she don't even have to talk. She can speak with her eyes and with her facial expressions, but on top of it, she is fierce from head to toe. That fucking hair was clean, the face was clean. She was way cleaner than my ass, for crying out loud. And the fucking body was nice. And, you know, she had jewels and had this nice ass jacket. Like, Callahan, that bitch got style, and she was just giving the visuals like it was no other. And I'm like, see. But the thing about it, Suki was just talking to Callahan like Callahan's like a field hand and shit, which is being all kinds of disrespectful. Oh, bitch, go somewhere. Never mind. Come here, sit down, let's talk. You know, and then he's kind of gagging like, see, this bitch got me fucked up. You know, gonna turn me down. Now I got his business and shit. You know, how you gonna turn down all this and all this shit? And I'm just like, see, Suki's one of them messy ass queens. So we come to find out in this episode, and we definitely knew from, you know, last season of Three Siders when, you know, when he was being interviewed for a job at the Mannequin Factory, how he was coming at Kiko when Mason wasn't around, how he kind of hemmed Kiko up saying, bitch, you're not going to fuck me up from getting this job. We already kind of see that Suki was that kind of messy bitch, but it's like now it's being revealed even more so. So I was just sitting here like, yo, this trifling ass bitch. Like, you literally took this man's company just because he wouldn't have sex with you. Bitch, that's a conflict of interest. He's your boss. He's saying that, first of all, we're friends, you know, I'm your boss, I don't want to cross that line. And because he wanted to respect business and not mix business and pleasure, which is smart, you take his damn business. But then again, Mason, a lot of it had to do with the fact that, one, we had Kiko, she had her situation and she was gone. Mason was up in Boston, so the business literally was being maintained by Suki. So you kind of left the gate open for Suki to get access to certain information that she should not have had access to, being just your employee. I mean, and if anything, if you were going to step away from your business, you always need somebody there to manage things when you're not there. But it needs to be someone that you trust and someone that, but not only that, you need to have insurance on everything in your business because in case something goes wrong, you can correct it. But, you know, if anything, it's like a touch and go with business. And in some cases, you learn from your mistakes. And this is a big mistake that Mason now has to learn from because now Suki literally owns the shop. And she's literally up in there gagging thinking she's that bitch. But then back at the house with Mason and Brandon, you know, Brandon is like gagging over all this information, you know, about, you know, Beverly Ellis, who's supposed to be Ronnie's new identity. And he's like, damn, you know, everybody, she done seen everybody but me. And Mason said, and don't tell anybody anything too. Do not say nothing. And he was like, and then like Mason was like, well, why are you pressed that she didn't see you? I don't even want to see her. She just keeps coming back like the ghost of Christmas past. And I'm like, she's just like her damn brother. She lives in the dark and she appears when she wants to appear. But then she can fade into the darkness and no one will see her. She operates in the dark, and we see that her and Clint have that in common. They like to move, you know, in dark places and appear like, bitch, I'm here, and I'm going to say, and I want this, and I want that, and this is going to happen, and that's going to happen. So we kind of see that Clint and Ronnie have that brother and sister thing in common, which is crazy. And then he was saying that, but then he was like, you know what? So pretty much, you know, Brandon's like, I haven't even seen Ronnie and all that. Well then, Mason's like, I can arrange for you to see her for $10,000. And he's like, I ain't got that kind of money, man. He's like, man, you got that Apple III watch on. Like, boo-boo, stop. Again, Mason, out of line. Just because a person wears nice things does not mean they have a lot of money. They may have a lot of money on their person, or something that they may be rocking may be of high value. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have that kind of coin in the bank. You know what I'm saying? So then he was like, Brandon was like, whoa. Mason, it's my birthday. My birthday's coming up. You should be getting me a gift. And then Mason was like, happy birthday. I'm like, Mason, you are such a messy bitch. But I kind of cracked up at that. I thought that was hilarious. I was like, you were so damn wrong for that. But then Brandon pretty much told him that, look, you know, we're gonna get to the bottom of the situation. You know, we're gonna find a way to get your business back. You know, he was saying that, look, there's ways. I mean, there's GoFundMe's, there's options out here. And then like Mason was like, GoFundMe? I would rather fuck Suki before I do a GoFundMe. I'm like, bitch, really? I mean, yeah, it's hard to raise money on a GoFundMe, but I mean, hell, it's a job to get money from GoFundMe, because you got to really, put that out to so many different networks before something really turns. But it is useful and it does work. But yeah, Mason's like, oh, I'm not here for that. But he was saying that, look, there is a way, and we're gonna find one. So then it goes back to the mannequin factory. Callahan and Suki are there, and Callahan only said one word this whole episode. When Suki was like, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest on the mall? And I'm also kind of seeing that Callahan really knows that Suki be full of shit, but he's loyal to Suki, so he just kind of goes along with whatever Suki says. But we can kind of see in them facial expressions when Suki was doing all this extra shit in front of the mirror, we could see, Callahan was giving that look like, bitch, bye. Like, she was kind of giving those looks, and it was so funny. Like, the person that actually plays Callahan, Mo Clark, you are doing a phenomenal job playing that character, because I'm so in with it. Because Callahan is that bitch that you can just read what she's thinking just from looking at her. She ain't gotta say too much. But then when Suki was doing all this gagging, like mirror, mirror on the wall, being Maleficent and shit, Callahan was like, again? No, I need to hear you say it. She's like, you. I was cracking up. I was like, bitch, you. Now leave me the fuck alone. Like, stop asking me questions. So I thought that was hilarious. So then, we see that she's gagging, talking about something. I'm going to rename this place. I think I'm going to call it Suki's Garden. Yeah, the garden that Mason didn't want to visit. Cute. Alright. So then, we see later on, Mason shows up to the mannequin factory to talk to Suki. And he runs into Callahan, and Callahan's still giving the same type of, I wonder if Callahan is mixed with, I wonder if Callahan got Indian in her family, because she was giving straight kind of tonic teas, just like, I mean, she was just giving straight, like, just straight shutdown, like, you don't know what she gonna do. So she's standing there, and Mason's trying to get by, and she's blocking Mason's path. He goes the other way, she's right there in his face. He goes the other way, she's right there. And I'm like, yo, Callahan is that bitch that will wreck. And, she ain't scared of Mason. And then, like, pretty much, he's going back and forth. He's like, look, you need to get the hell out of my way. I have no issue with you. This is something to do with Suki. But, she protects Suki at all costs. But then we're going to find out a little bit about their history, and I'm going to get to that. It's a reason why, Callahan and Suki are as close as they are. Quiet as his cat, baby. But they're going back and forth, and then finally Suki joins in, and, they going back and forth, and Mason's like, bitch, you talk too much. Do you realize what you're doing? Like, this is fraud. You tricked me into signing over the business. And then, like, but we see that Suki is still on her bullshit, still talking trash, like, oh, you're back so soon? what are you doing here? I mean, you came here to get your things? Is that why you're here? And then Mason went into his Tina Turner mode, was like, Nyam Hodo and Gokyo, no Mio Hodo, Gokyo, no Mio Hodo, Gokyo. I was like, so, like, he just went into the straight Buddhist chant. Like, he's like, I'm about to have to take my mind off this from killing this girl. And then also due to the fact that Callahan is pretty much like the muscle. And then they going back and forth like, oh, you mean, he's like, so what are you doing here? And Mason's like, this is my factory. He's like, oh, you mean my factory, right? And he's like, look, you and your sidekicks need to step off and stop this bullshit. Look, you're doing all this because I wouldn't have sex with you and all this. Like, why are you doing all this? So he said that, you know what, you and your troll need to go somewhere. But he's like, you know what, I wanted to talk to you anyway. So then they pretty much go and sit down and they talk. They take jabs going back and forth and everything. Mason pretty much, they pretty much go back and forth. And Suki is right now is still smelling her ass. And she's talking all this shit. And they going back and forth about the business. And Mason's like, but you just did this just because I wouldn't have sex with you. So you tricked me into something on the business. She's like, yeah, I did. Yeah. So what of it, I mean, after all, it's my business now. I mean, did you come here to ask for a job? Still talking her smack, not realizing Mason was recording this. So Mason's like, oh, I'm going to take this shit to the police, bitch, because I got you on here admitting that you committed fraud, and yeah, I'm about to take your ass down. So Suki pulls out a wild card, and that wild card is that, bitch, I know Ronnie's alive. And if you play that for the cops or anybody, everybody gonna know about Ronnie being alive, and I'm gonna put that shit on blast, and I'm gonna smoke her ass out wherever she at. So go to the cops if you want to, because due to the fact, because you know about that insurance policy, Mason Cash insurance policy, and due to the fact that Ronnie was supposed to be dead and she's still alive, yeah, that's insurance fraud. Yeah, he can get about 20 plus for that alone, and everything involving, the mannequin factory would go up in smoke. So he pulled that card out. So now Mason, so then pretty much, Mason left because now he got more ammunition. So right now, Suki got the upper hand. Then we see Mason finally talks to Kiko. Kiko has not been to the mannequin factory for like 2 to 3 days. Well, he's been trying to reach her for 2 to 3 days, and he hasn't been able to get in touch with her. So when he sees Kiko, he's kind of livid a little bit, like, bitch, I haven't heard from you in 3 days. What the fuck? And Kiko's like, well, dang, you could have texted me or paged me or, you could have sent me an email. He says, I did all of those, and I called you, and you ain't fucking answer. What the hell is going on? She says, well, I got these 5 clients and everything, and I went to the mannequin factory, and the damn door was locked, and my key didn't work. What the fuck is going on? So Mason pretty much, saying that Suki changed the locks. And he's like, what the hell you mean Suki changed the locks? Suki is the help. What the fuck is she doing changing the locks? What the fuck happened? And then he pretty much tells the story of how Suki tricked him into signing over the documents and how Suki owns the mannequin factory. And she was just like, can you say that shit again? And it started to piss Mason off because he had to keep repeating himself. And then the third time, she just couldn't take it, and Kiko just passed out. And she fainted for like about 5 minutes. So she comes to, and she's like, how did you let this happen? And he's like, he tricked me, And, I did, I thought I was filling out some tax papers, but it turns out I signed over the factory. So it all belongs to Suki. And she's like, no. See, I am part owner of the mannequin factory. I didn't sign off on that, so I'm still part owner. So no, that's some bullshit. And then also he was like, oh yeah, that's right. And she's like, yeah, so let's go see this bitch, and let's get this factory back, because what this bitch doing is criminal. And on top of it, I'm still part owner in the business, so she just took your portion of the business, but she didn't take mine. then I ain't signing over nothing. So yeah, let's go handle this shit. But then he pretty much says that we can't make a move because she got the upper hand, because she knows that Ronnie's alive, and due to the fact that I cashed that insurance, Ronnie's insurance, that allows me for insurance fraud. So we can't go to the cops or nothing. And he was like, are you fucking serious? And and then he said that, yeah, so we're kind of tight on that situation. And he says that then I even tried to ask Brandon for some money to help me out, and of course Kiko was like, Brandon, please, who cares? She still is not, she's still hurt by that whole situation between her and Brandon. But again, I hope Brandon and Kiko make up, because I do miss them as being that dynamic duo. So pretty much, she just gets, so therefore, this just really gets Kiko boiling. She was like, you know what, you're going to fix this shit, Mason. You need to fix this. You're going to let that troll and her little goon come in and take over your shit that you worked so hard for? Oh, hell no. Fix this, Mason. She's like, and then she tells Mason that she's been working at this salon, which is like their competition. And she's like, that's where the hell you've been all this time? I've been trying to reach you all this time, and you've been over here working for somebody else? Is that what you're doing? She's like, no, boo-boo. I am working there, but I'm working there to bring these customers to the mannequin factory. And now I got customers lined up, and now we don't even have a business to take them to. So she's like, you know what? Yeah, we need to fucking fix this, because as soon as I see Suki, I'm going to body slam that bitch. So yeah, you need to fix it, and you need to fix it now. Then we get one of my favorite scenes. We see that Mason reaches back out to Leesburg, who's played by Ty Johnson. Shout out to Ty. I love Leesburg's character, because he is he's pretty much like a computer genius. And he's so into the world of technology and the world of computer science that he sometimes has these little fun facts that he throws out, and it just drives Mason up the wall. But baby, Leesburg is hot, and he is hot for fucking Mason. So pretty much, Mason tells him about the situation involving Suki, and the first thing that we hear Leesburg say, says like, so I see that you lost some of your circumference and dimension. I'm like, Leesburg, oh my God, Leesburg, no. I just thought that was so cute. Like, he literally just pretty much told me he was losing weight, but did it in a very, scientific way. I see that you've lost some circumference and dimension, but that form is still lovely. So he's like, and he's saying, so you told me I've been losing weight? Okay, yeah, I've been in the gym and everything. That's all good. But I thought that was funny. So pretty much, then he says that, it's been 3 months, it's been like 3 months, and then he started naming the minutes, the hours, and the seconds since the last time I worked for you. He's like, you've been keeping track? He's like, oh yeah. So I'm like, Leesburg saying that, yeah, I want you, Mason, but Leesburg fine. So I'm like, yeah, we could see that, they are opposites, but I can definitely see that at the end of the day, yeah, I can see Mason and Leesburg rocking, because Leesburg definitely got Mason's back. And then he was talking about how Suki was coming on to him and he rejected it, and he's like, well, who can blame him? I mean, after all, you're so irresistible. I'm like, Leesburg, stop your playing! But then, so then he pretty much lets him know that, he lets him know about the situation, but then Leesburg says, like, look, you're going to have to trust me. And then Mason's like, look, I can't trust anybody right now. This fool, me trusting somebody is what got me in this mess. I trusted him that he was a friend and that he was about me, but it turns out he was on some other shit. And Leesburg finds out all the tea too, and I'm gonna get to that also. But he tells Mason I'll do it free of charge, but you know, I just want an evening of sustenance and libation. I'm like, Leesburg, if you don't sit your ass down somewhere with the bullshit. But it was cute. I liked it, but I'm like, really, bitch? But then Mason's like, so you mean you want to go out? He's like, yeah. You know, and then he kind of put his arm out like, yeah. You know, put your arm in there. So, yeah, I help you. You go out on a date with me. So I'm like, okay, Leesburg, I see you pimping. You know, he a geek, but he definitely got his ways about him, and he's quick to throw out them fun facts, and it drives Mason up the wall. But then, you know, he also talks about Callahan and all of that, and he hands over some paperwork for Ty to go check out. We actually see Ty does that, and he comes back and he gives the dossier on both Callahan and Suki. Oh yeah, so he pretty much so pretty much Leesburg goes and gets the information. Sorry about that, y'all. He comes back with the information, and we pretty much find out that Callahan's real name is Octavius, and Suki's real name is Suquan. You know, so he finds out the truth about them. Come to find out that Callahan is wanted by immigration because he's been smuggling drugs in synthetic wigs. You know, because I'm saying the bitch's hair is always on fleek. That's what I say. Callahan's a fierce bitch, so hair is like her expertise. And then he talks about Suki, and that Suki has got many mugshots. So the bitch a criminal too. And then come to find out this bitch is wanted, you know, and come to find out this bitch been stealing from like, you know, from like all the main stores like Walmart, Target, you know, beauty supply stores, and been selling this shit in the warehouse. So all this shit that she be selling is shit that she lifted, and she be trying to say that this shit is, and then she be selling this shit for more than what it's really worth. So I'm like, so these bitches are some straight up con artists, and you know, Leesburg pulled out all the information. Then eventually Kiko show up, and Kiko's like, oh, who this? He's cute. Who that? And then all of a sudden he starts reading Kiko her information like oh, Kiko, and he's like, oh yeah, and he starts, you know, naming. He starts talking about Kiko's whereabouts, and she's like, nigga, do you? She's like, she's ready to wreck. Like, yo, you don't know me like that. But the thing about it, that's what he does. Because he even told Mason earlier, like, look, do you know how much time I spend in criminal activity? I know the game. So it's a good thing you got me on my team. But then he says that, oh yes. And he's like, I'll see you later. And then he kind of like just grabs Mason by the chin and walks off. He's like, what? And then Kiko's like, oh, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing grabbing your chin? You don't know you like that. Like, are you dating him? And he's like, no. But we can kind of tell Mason was kind of intrigued by him. Even though he's a little extra, you can't deny it. Leesburg is fine. And then at those moments where he is being extra, but then he has moments where he can be very tender and sincere. And we can kind of see it was starting to weigh Mason down a little bit. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with the two of them. But he pretty much lets Kiko know about everything that him and that because he didn't tell her who he was and what he was doing there, but she does say that. Well, he does let Kiko know that I got information on these bitches. You know that this bitch been stealing from Walmart, Payless, and beauty supply store and shit. This bitch walking around wearing cheap shit, trying to act like she that bitch and she not that bitch. So Kiko's like, oh yes, we about to fucking get this shit. Yeah, let's handle this. So Mason calls and, you know, calls for Suki, and Suki says she's gonna show up, her and Callahan. So they both show up. Then once they come in there, you know, already Kiko, Mason's upstairs, but Kiko's downstairs. She opens the door, So, she's like, she's a non-girl. She's like, who is it? Suki. Oh, you mean the bitch who stole the mannequin factory? The bitch who's the fake bitch and blah, blah, blah. So eventually she opens the door. Suki and Callahan are there, and there's this big exchange between them because Kiko is like going in like, you trifling bitch and blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, oh, you actually want to work for me? You still need a job? And then, Suki is still feeling herself, still thinking she that bitch, and definitely because she got Callahan on her side. Oh, yes. Also, another thing that was revealed, too, on why Callahan defends Suki, they met when they were in prison, and they used to be lovers, but now they became like partners in crime. So that's why Callahan got Suki's back. Suki can talk any kind of way, but Callahan ain't gonna move because that's her ride or die. But so I was like, ooh, so that explains it. And then, pretty much Kiko and Suki are going back and forth, and she is ready to pop Suki in the face and shit. But then Callahan pretty much is like doing what she did with Mason, standing there, blocking the way and shit. But then she's like, look, if you don't get your big ass away from me, and then she stepped back, she's like, ooh, bitch, oh, I like that. Ooh, those shoes. Oh, yes. Oh, and the hair. And she just started admiring her fashion. And I'm like, Kiko, bitch! I was like, that's why I love me some Kiko. Kiko got an eye for fashion. And I pretty much pointed that out, too, that Callahan is a fierce bitch. So Kiko even claimed it. Then all of a sudden, Mason came downstairs. There's this big exchange and shit. But Mason is like, so what's the deal? Octavius and Suquan, those are your names, ain't they? It's like, okay, bitch, you know our name. So what? What you giving? So Mason lets it be known about Callahan being wanted by immigration, and about Suki's criminal past and how she's been boot-lifting all this shit and be walking around stunting like she about that life, but she wearing some cheap hand-me-down shit. So they pretty much got this whole thing going on, and then, then next, a little fight breaks out, and Mason comes out with some deodorant and literally sprays them like they roaches. I was laughing my ass off. I was like, whoa. And then Kiko tries to sneak in to get a hit on Snooki, but then they get into it, and like she gets slapped. So Kiko's ready to go wreck. And pretty much in exchange, the keys got dropped, so Mason got his keys back to the mannequin factory, and he pretty much says that, yeah, I'm going to the authorities with all this crap, so yeah, I know you guys are wanted. So Mason, thanks to Leesburg, got back to mannequin factory. But personally, I don't think we've seen the last of those two. So we just have to keep on watching to see what's going to happen next. But I have to say, definitely Mo Clark, Isaac Green, Ty Johnson, y'all really had me on the edge of my seat on this episode. But yes, Kiko and Jason, you guys are amazing. Y'all really, and Dominic, yes, all of you guys were rocking it. And I was just so here for this episode, and it gave me so much life. But that's what I had, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. So pretty much what I want to tell you is subscribe to brtbtv.com. I will have that link in the description box. Also, check out the Triangle Fan Club on Facebook. You get everything BRTBTV. You get posts from the cast and crew, as well as fans. But also you get updates from the creator, Caesar Williams. So definitely Triangle Fan Club, and subscribe today to brtbtv.com. Also, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have those listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I will be back with the next episode of Three Siders. So until next time, everybody, take care.